Hello, Dr. Virginia.
Hi, Dr. Elizabeth. You're so funny.
It's awesome to say it though. I'm yes, I said this to another colleague of ours that as I will never tire with addressing her as doctor,
Aw.
um, I will never tire of addressing you as doctor. So
Oh, likewise.
congratulations on your fairly recent completion of your degree.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And yeah. I do want to just say thank you because you were really an ally and a supporter through that process. So I, for me, seeds that are planted in my garden, that's my life. I like to thank the people that are doing that and the relationships I built from that space. So thank you, my
Mm,
friend.
thank thank you.
I consider you a friend. So yeah,
I consider you a friend and an esteemed colleague.
thank you. Oh, it's still blowing my mind. So I'm still trying to catch up with that. But you are definitely someone that is a colleague, a friend, a ally, someone that I look up to, someone I admire. I don't know if I ever told you that. I really admire the work you do to not be, oh, this is such a horrible statement. You pay attention to what's going on in the world. I'm just going to say that. And you put a lot of thought, like oftentimes, especially being a Black woman and working with white women, I feel like they want you to do the work for them, but you are someone who you've came prepared to have a conversation. And that's really refreshing, especially in the climate that we're in now. So I appreciate you so dearly. And I hope I tell you that enough because I know we're both insanely busy. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That that means everything. Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean that. I think I don't pour water in spaces, even if it's drought. I don't do it. It's useless, right? I
Mm,
only plant seeds in grounds that I know are going to produce fruit. And after 25, I got very intentional about that.
mm,
So yeah, yeah.
mm. So we brought up the academic thing because that's how we know each other.
Yes,
So
yes. We
I'm curious. I love hearing folks tell a story that I think I know, but tell it through their lens and their way. So how would you just talk about how we met and how we got to know each other?
so we attended a class together online, and it was a class. The class was large, if I'm not mistaken, and then the two of me and you, and I think three other people, if I'm not mistaken, were in a group for a project. And there was someone who was taking the lead that she wanted to do everything like from scratch, right? She had that kind of let's just do it. She wanted to put everything together. She took lead in a space that didn't require leaders. And at least that's my perspective. Oftentimes, when you're amongst leaders, you don't need leaders because everybody says, I'm going to take a piece of the pie, deliver it at the highest level, and we're going to have a whole pie. But she wanted to give everybody, hey, you go buy the potatoes, you go get the oil. And none of us needed that. So you and I kinda aligned on something we were working on together, and we just boom, boom, boom. You were like, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we already got it, boom, boom, boom." And I love that approach for that reason because, again, I don't think when a space doesn't require leaders, you need a leader. And you instantly came in and was like, "I don't think we need a leader. We all just got parts. Let's just do it and put it together. And we don't need to have a ton of meetings about it because we're all leaders." And I instantly liked you for that reason. I don't know why, but I don't know. I'm really weird like this. I either instantly like you or it takes a while for me to get to know you. Like, cause I'm that instantly like you or something off about you type of person. And we instantly liked each other and we started exchanging ideas and talking. And you were getting ready to graduate. This was your last class. And if I'm not mistaken, you were getting ready to defend your dissertation. and you were brilliantly, you used the story that had happened with, because I came from Walmart. You used Rosin Brewer, who at the time was the CEO of Sam's. She was at Starbucks. And you used the story where at Starbucks, two Black guys had went in, they were meeting with a business partner. They were waiting, right? And it ended up being like really, I don't even know this story. It was so crazy how it happened. Two Black professional guys getting ready to meet a white and male who was a business partner. And they called the cops on him, and the guys got arrested. And you and I started to exchange ideas around the experience where when she was CEO, she called out a company that did not have a lot of diversity. And they spoke about it like it was so big. People thought that's the reason why she left Sam's. From my understanding, it wasn't. She just had a better opportunity at Starbucks. I mean, C-suite positions, they stay around anywhere from 3 to 5 years at most. And she had been there for a really, really long time. And you took that story, and that was the framework of your dissertation. And you asked me to read it, and I shared some experience because Rosalind was, when I was at Walmart, she was part of a leadership program where she mentored Black females coming into the workforce. And she was really, really focused on that. And that's not a bad thing, because I remember people saying, well, a Black leader focusing only on Black women. I'm like, that's not a bad thing, especially when white women are double in the C-suite and there's data that support they're not taking, Black women as young mentors and stuff like that. They're doing it in a collective space where there are a bunch of people, but they're not individually helping them understand their structure and build up their framework and being an advisor, a sponsor, right? And so we talked about that. And from there, I was part of when you presented your dissertation. I was there and just so proud of you. And then we just develop a friendship. I like to feel like okay. So sometimes I feel like you give more to me than I give to you. And I learned to not feel guilty about that because you're somebody that I was looking up to. And so I forgave myself because I try to do balance with my relationships. But my mentor told me it is also okay that if you're in your eating season where people are feeding you. And so I let go of that guilt. And I think we develop a really good partnership where if I tell you all the time, if there's anything I can do for you, I'm here 100%, your biggest cheerleader. And I encourage you to teach because I thought you would be a great teacher. Great teacher. I'm owning that because I thought, like I stated earlier, that true allies of Black women need to be on the forefront right now at a level that you've never seen it. And we really, really need that. Because we understand that we're not on the other side of the glass ceiling. We're not. I mean, we own it. We're not. But you are. And the only way we get in there is that you invite us or you can remove the glass ceiling. There is enough for all of us to be successful. In fact, men are still 82% of the C-suite. So there's more than enough for us to get access and you get access. And so, and not remove them, but turn them into allies as well. And so that's how we met. We have something where we're supposed to be meeting up soon and having lunch or dinner and just connecting, which I'm looking forward to. And we have some talks on projects long term that we're going to look into. And that's how I met you, my Elizabeth, my Dr. Elizabeth. So is that what you remember, or do you have something different?
Ooh. All right, first, I just love how you drop all of these pearls of wisdom that I know are straight out of your work. It's like the percentage, and I'm like, that's page 32. You can find the citation. Recite our work, Dr. Virginia. So I remember that class. It was on conflict resolution, and like our team was like a case study.
Yes, it
And
does.
I remember the first time, like, you and I had been going back and forth on text messages,
Mhm. Yep.
and it was like, we just need to get on the phone.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time we got on the phone and feeling like, this is a sister of my heart.
Oh my god.
Like, this is like, we get each other.
Absolutely.
And also, like, recognizing that we also had to get through that particular project and
Mhm,
that class,
mhm,
and it was COVID times, and so it
mhm.
made it even more awkward was you were originally in the in-person
Yep.
program.
Mhm.
I had been in the primarily online program. This was your first online class,
Yes.
and it was, I mean, it was kind of like tank shock for you in a
Mhm.
sense.
Yes,
It's
it
sort of
was.
like normally, and I apologize, you are the goldfish in this analogy. Normally, when you get the goldfish home from the pet store, and they're like, "Don't just cut the bag and dump it into the tank," right? Like, no, you got to
No, we
let everybody float,
mhm.
right? Everybody float, and then we equalize on the temperature, and then you cut the bag and you swim off into the tank. In this case, it was just like you got poured into this tank.
Mm.
And it was like, "Who are these people? What is this? I'm used to in-person interaction. I'm not used to having all this be online. I'm not used to
Mhm.
not seeing people or
Yes.
talking to them personally or establishing some kind of contextual relationship."
Absolutely.
And I just was like, that was when I just it came out through just what you had been typing. I was like, we're not gonna make it if we don't make a personal connection." Like, that was the piece that I was just like, I am talking to a very high context person. I'm
Oh,
talking to
I am.
somebody who is all about the connection and
Mhm.
but the tactile connection.
Absolutely.
Not gonna happen over text. And I just remember feeling so much better at the end of our first conversation because, like, things were kinda going sideways in that project.
It was.
Got there. We dragged that over the goal line,
Yes.
and then it was yes, I remember your rectangle on the Zoom of my dissertation defense and what it meant to me that you were there, and how you, like, you give so much to me. How you've shown up for me. Just
You
your out of the blue texts. Like, I don't know how you know, but when I most need to hear, like, you're loved, you're supported, you're thought of. You just pop up, like,
oh, thank
every
you.
time,
The same with you. This
and it's amazing to me, and then, when I think about how we really got to know each other, it was during your dissertation process,
Mhm.
because you wrestled with that question,
God.
wrestled with, "What is my question?" And I know that I was just like, I just kept prodding you toward, but, like, get more specific. Who is it? And then it was the framing of it because at the beginning, the question was really more focused on the sponsors and the allies. And it's like, yeah, but that's not where your heart is.
Mm,
Your heart is with the Black women executives.
exactly.
And how, like, if they aren't centered in your work, it's not you, it's not yours. And
Oh,
it was when you got your research question and your design for how you were gonna do this study, when you got that dialed in, then it was all about your participants, and it was all about their experience and telling their stories, and the thing that I found so impressive in your writing was how committed you were to telling their stories with their voice, and you put your analysis on it, you put your lens on it. You
thank
brought the theory and you brought the literature and the evidence to the table, and it
thank
was
you.
all in service of them and their voice, and how do you center and amplify that?
Oh,
And that was what made it so that's what made your dissertation and your work so powerful and why I keep sending folks to you. Um,
no, and I'm
'Cause that's
still
it.
'cause it's so important, and I'm still so passionate about it, and I'm still working on it, and because 'cause I'm now taking, right, the flip of that and asking white women, like, "What are you doing to contribute to it? Like, where's your lens in that?" And so, of course, I'm gonna reach
Mm.
out to you.
Oh, see, like, uh, and this to me is something I'm curious about because it's I can see your bio and your professional profile. I can go read your dissertation. I can see your academic credentials. And what what is it what's important to you that people know about you beyond what they see there?
Hmm, that's such a good question. I guess my faith, which is really, really important to me, my family. I live for my family. And why I don't personally have kids, I couldn't have kids. Like my family, my nieces, my nephews, my sisters. But also, if I'm just talking about like the personal side of me, I want when my life is over to have planted a seed that I don't benefit from, the people behind me benefit from. Professionally, I'm the same way, like helping build the next generation of leaders, which is really important to me. And still trying to figure out, like, how do I do that? Because building a high performance team, my team may have 3 or 4 people of color now. Oh, I hate that they use that. But the majority of my teams are often white and they're often reluctant to lean into that strategy. And so sometimes I have to just focus on the ones that I can really help develop while also making it making the mirror saying that the option was there. You chose not to select it, right? And so those are things that are really, really important to me. Like where are we gonna be at 5 years from now? What would I have influence? And whether that's based on my professional, research or my personal, what would I have influence? What am I doing? I try like to do something good every day for somebody else. And it may not be like on a grand scheme of things, but it's something that I know I planted a seed that somebody else can benefit for and walked away happy that I did that. So that's rather, you know, a woman can't afford food and buying food for her family. Or, we have the Manfield homeless shelter not too far. So always dropping off food, always dropping off blankets, always serving in that space. And I realized something that when I am struggling professionally and personally, I find that planting a seed in the ground heals that for me because I know despite my adversities or my struggles, somebody has it worse than I do. And so I'm trying to have more gratitude for where I'm at. It may not be where I want to be, right? There's a saying, I don't know if it's said in other cultures, but in the Black community, I may not be where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be, right? And so for me, and then I'm always thinking about my mother. I'm always thinking about my father. And my father was from Sudan, right? Came to the States, got educated, went back home, and then was forced to bring his family back to the US. Think about my mother who was born and raised in Haiti and all that she went through. So all of that is always when I wake up, I'm carrying that. Even if you don't see it, I'm carrying it. And so that's kind of how I kind of maneuver through the world right now.
Mm.
Yeah.
The things we carry. And, when I think you used a word, and it's a word I often think of when I think of you, which is legacy.
Hmm.
Like, I remember so many conversations as you were working through your dissertation process, whether it was your proposal, the research itself, writing it up, and then getting prepared for your defense, and how much you carried with you, and your ancestors who you carried with you, and it
Absolutely.
was bound up in loss.
Mhm.
And it was always so interesting to me because I always felt like the seed metaphor is not new to me with you. The garden and the seed are not new. Those are recurring themes.
Yes, I always
And
talk like
very
that. I know I
yeah,
sound
every
weird.
conversation,
I
every
always like
conversation.
that.
And what I thought of was I was like, it's so interesting to me that so much of what you carry and the legacies you carry with you are born out of incredible loss that you've experienced. And it is also that loss that sort of propels you to grow new.
Mhm,
And it's this dichotomy, right? At the same time, it's the loss that leads you to propagate new growth
mhm,
and leads you to go out and build in the world and do in the world. And so much of it comes from carrying the legacy of those who are lost to you in this life now, in this world now, but whose presence and spirit have never departed.
absolutely. For me, I remember because my mother was older in age when she had me, and she wanted to at the time, education, they couldn't go to school, and when she could, it was too late. I'm from a big family, it's 14 of us, right? I got 8 brothers and 6 sisters, and then my mother helped raise a lot of her grandkids because me and my twin sister are the same age as a lot of my nieces and nephews. So I grew up with my nieces and nephews and not with my older brothers. Education was everything to my mother. I learned last year we did this big family reunion, but my niece and my cousin did like a lineage tree, ancestry search, right? They had a big map where we started. And so my mother was like a midwife, and they people were like, "Oh, they loved her. She was so good. She helped deliver babies." And now they call it a doula. Then they call it a midwife. And so I learned that my mother wanted to be a nurse and she couldn't. And so my mother used to take us to the library when we were little. I love to this day I still love libraries. And she would say, "You can go anywhere you want to in this place. You can be anything you want to in this place. You can dream, you can anything." And I used to get in a corner and read and read. And to this day, in my house that I live alone in, I get in a corner and I read and you know, some people call it, dreaming. Others call it vision, write the vision, make it plain. Some people call it like manifesting, right? But for me, all of that contribute to this because me being a writer, me loving words, I love words. I think they're so powerful. And you can take a word and make a world that whether you're in it or not, you can see the power of writing and words. And that's what my mother gave me. And so I remember her saying that to me. I wanted to be a nurse. She was like, "I wanted to be a doctor." And I felt like her having all of us took that from her. And so I said that I was going to get my PhD for her. And so I originally started in 2018, but I got sick. I was diagnosed with acute lymphomablast leukemia, and I went through treatment for 2 years. But soon as I got the okay, I went right back to school. And my timeline has already been excelled, right? Because I was supposed to have been done, right, in 2021. But now I got to start over. So I was very focused and I did it in 3 years. And so I kept my head down and I got this sign in my office and my mother's name is on it and my aunt and her mother's name and then her mother's name and as many ancestors as I could trace. Women. I intentionally focused only on women. I didn't look at the male side of my lineage. All of their names, and every time I was frustrated, every time I was exhausted, every time where all I was doing was working in school, they were my reason to kind of keep pushing because they didn't have the opportunity. And so, yes, my dissertation is my lineage. It's the story of my lineage just wrote with research used today, but my family is at the framework of it.
Mm. You mentioned reading. I know what an avid reader you are. You put everybody I know to shame. You certainly put me to shame.
I love reading. It's
What is something you've read lately that is influencing or shaping your thinking?
oh my god, all about love.
All right, tell me
I
more.
I it's just so I love Bell Hooks. She's just amazing, amazing, amazing. I actually a good friend of mine's who's in HR and she is white and Hispanic. She was here at my house not last week, but the week before. She lives in Portland. And I gave her my copy. Like it's a copy that I rarely give out, but she is such an amazing person. And so I had to reorder my book because that's my book. That's like it's a version of my Bible. Like I read my Bible all the time. I read that book all the time because it talks about love and it talks about like how you shape love in your life. And whether it's from your family, from your partner, husband, from your friends, how are you shaping the love in your life? So in my lineage, again, I've been doing like, I'm trying to get at the roots of my family. I'm asking really, my dissertation, me now being a practitioner, gave me the courage to ask some questions in my family that prior to me having that, I was scared to ask. And so it like abuse is in my lineage. Like my grandmother, my mother's mothers, my grandfather who loved his children, right? Because you can be two things, right? People don't realize that you're not just one thing, we're multiple things. So my mother's father was a great father, but a horrible husband. And so he used to abuse my grandmother. Then my mother, who broke the cycle and married a really good man, her children, her daughters, all experienced abuse. My cousins from like my aunt and my other aunt all experienced abuse. And so I and my twin sister have never been with partners who abused us because for me, that's not love. But it's in my lineage. It's rooted deep in my lineage, and I can't understand how to remove the root, right? I've sprayed the surface, which is in my yard and my sister's yard, but the root of it is still there. I can't get to it. When I ask those questions and probe it, I still can't get to it. I'm consumed with it right now in my life to understand, to stop it where it doesn't grow in my second generation nieces. Cause I am a great, great aunt, right? I'm from a big family, right? I got nieces and nephews way older than me who have kids, right? And some of them have had that experience. So
Mhm,
it's almost like there's a root in our family that grows in our yard that has spread it, and it grows in everybody's yard. My sister
mm,
has it down there. My cousin has it down there. It's not on my surface, and that's because I spray it. And so, all about love talks about how we've given permission for that type of love in our family.
mm,
And I am consumed with it, Dr. Elizabeth. Like, I'm consumed with it because it's as if my family doesn't have permission to have healthy love. My
mm,
family doesn't have permission to break that cycle. It's as if my family can't build a legacy of wealth because we don't have permission for it. So the bare minimal is our framework.
mm,
And that book is helping me have these very complex relationships with these very stubborn and prideful Black women who have been living in this for so long, feeling like you acknowledging it out loud somehow devalues who they are or who they've been to your life. Because again, you can be more than one thing. So you can be a great sister who speaks life into your sister, but you can also be a woman who gets abused. You can also be married to a man that will never be more than the bare minimum in your life. And you've accepted it because you've had 3 kids with him or 8 kids with him or 5 kids with him.
Mm.
So I don't know if that was the intent of that question, but that's where it went. So I apologize if it wasn't.
It is your it like, the conversation we've had so many times, it is your work. Your work is your work. People will always have opinions and feedback on your work, and it is yours. They are data points. Maybe one of those data points is an insight that helps you reframe and reimagine and gives you new insight, and sometimes maybe it's just noise, but it's yours. And so the question is yours to answer.
Mhm.
You decide where it
That.
goes. And honestly, that sounds a lot like, I mean, how you're showing up for your family.
Mm.
Because you talked about permission. It's like, well, who are you seeking permission from? Who is it that needs to give you that permission?
Oh, no, that's such a complex question. I don't know. I don't honestly, I that question with my tribe of Black professional women, we are trying to answer that. We don't know. Like, even when we think we know, we're like, I don't think, no, I don't know.
Mm,
Like, professionally, who am I trying to give permission for me to show up and be the leader? I don't know. I'm stuck on that one because I don't know.
mm. Well, I also want to acknowledge you as an aunt because I have seen with my own daughters how my sister-in-law, how my own sister show up for them, and they have no idea how good they have it, absolutely none. These are women in their lives who love them with the fierceness that their mother loves them,
Mhm, absolutely.
and are the safe place. And I don't believe it's possible to have enough trusted adults in the life of a child.
I agree.
And, I mean, I've got one that just turned 13 and the other one will be there soon enough. And the comfort that I have as their mother, knowing that these other women are fully present in their lives, and moreover, that my children have chosen that role for them. Like, it's one thing to show up and be like, "Hi, I'm your aunt, and here's what's gonna happen," and it's another thing for that child to say, "You are mine,
Mhm.
and I will give you access to myself." And that's that's a two-way relationship, and then knowing you and what you've built with your nieces and nephews and the presence you have and just the love you have to give. I mean, you're growing people. I mean, your garden is full of people.
Yeah, I love being an aunt. I'm very involved, like very, very involved with all my nieces. I pride myself on being a great aunt. I had my nieces that were in from Ohio here last week, and everybody in my family knows this. My job is to be the aunt to them that I didn't have. I didn't, not to say my aunts didn't love me, they did, right? But they were not participants in my life. I'm very active in my nieces and nephews' life. So much so, I often get called to say, "Hey, auntie, this is what's going on." And I have to, okay, let me talk to your mom, right? Let me talk to your dad, right? Because I really value that. They're my love. In fact, when this is over, I'm going to spend some time with Carter. He's 4 and he's the baby. And he's been requesting me, and I haven't seen him. I usually try to see him every other a week, and I was supposed to see him last week, but he wasn't feeling well. And then I'm out of town tomorrow to go check on my uncle. So I'm going to hang out with him tonight. And so just very active. And I listen more than I talk with them. They can tell me anything, anything, and I'll never judge it. I'll direct them, but I won't judge it. My nephew who's gay, he came out to me first, and I was like, "Okay." I was like, "I kinda already knew that, right? Because 'Cause I'm around you. I've been around you since you were 2 years old. I know who you are. I know your feet. I know your smell. I know what you don't like, you like." you're not telling me anything that I don't know, but I honor the fact that you're telling me. But I know you. I know who you are. And they're my loves, and I give them everything I got and support, and I try to guide them. The lack of permission that my aunts gave me, I do it in trons with them. Like, hey, you had that permission, and you're not conducive to what we went through. And so experience and options and all of that. I'm their safe space. I'm their diary, and I'll never break it. Even with my older nieces and nephews, I call them my love and those are my babies. They are. And they be like, "Auntie, we're the same age." It doesn't matter. I'm your aunt. You're my baby. So, yeah, I value that. I couldn't be a mother, but I am a damn good aunt. And that I know without anybody checking the references. I know that.
Out of out of loss, once again, comes abundance.
Mm, absolutely.
So, you always like, every time I catch up with you, you've got stuff going on. You've got things you're thinking about, things you're working on. Uh, what's a project or something you're really excited about working
Oh
on
my
right
God.
now?
My research, I've started it. I want to interview white women in executive positions, and I want to ask them, like, what are you doing to contribute to other women that don't look like you getting access to these positions? I want to know. I want to know. White women numbers are increasing and everybody else numbers are declining. What is your secret sauce? What are you doing? And I want to know. And so I'm so excited about this project, right? I will say that another little project that I'm excited about is, I finished my PhD. I have all this experience. I'm really good at my job, but I want to go and fix something. And I don't know where that is. Someone was saying, "You ought to think about being a consultant." And I was like, "How do I do that?" Right? I was like, "Do I do that as my own business? Do I go work for somebody and identify a problem?" But I'm really good at my job. My boss told me this a few weeks ago that I don't think anybody could have delivered on that project the way that you did because I don't need permission to do my job. Like, I don't need you to tell me, "Oh, there's a problem," right? In my business enough, in the weeds of it enough to say, "Hey, something is off here. I don't know what it is. Let's start looking at the data. What is the data telling us?" So I'm really good at my job, but I've been there for such a long time. So the problem solving is not happening like it used to, right? Because it's stable. And so a friend, you know, coworker, colleague. I need to stop using the word friend, but I think everybody's friends, right? But that's because I'm a people person. But a colleague said, "You're at a stage in your life with your PhD where 5 years is the max for your career here. You need to go somewhere else." And so, but this market is so ugly right now. Oh my God, this market is brutal. And so, but yeah, I want to go and problem solve and fix something. And if I had the capital, I would probably start my own consulting business, but I don't have a customer either, so I wouldn't even know how to do that. But I wanna go and take something to the next level. I wanna do that in droves, and that's kinda what I'm passionate about. That's it. What's funny is getting my PhD almost gave me, and I know this is weird to say it because it's just exactly what it is, but it gave me permission to go and solve the problems. Not to say me having an MBA didn't do that or a project management certification, but it's something about my experience during my PhD program. It did something different to me. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to do, but it did something different to me as a person. And so I find myself every opportunity I can problem solve something, I'm problem solving something. I sit on the board of Simply Grace, a nonprofit organization, and I'm constantly, "Hey guys, we need to do this. Here's the framework," right? Just, so much so they're like, "Okay, hold up. Hold up. We appreciate all this problem solving, but unless you're gonna take it from the beginning to the end of life cycle, we don't have anybody who can do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that." But teaching and working and stuff. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So my research now, I'm so passionate about it. And I really am ready to just hammer on that. I just finished my version of what would be like a chapter one. And hint, hint, I'll probably be sending that out to you so you can take a look at it.
I
And
can't wait.
and then I'm ready to start, like, I've been looking for, it's gonna be I wanna do, like, a peer review. I don't wanna make it, like, massive, like a dissertation, I wanna keep it really short. I wanna put enough in the world where, I've been looking for a fellowship to kinda fund it because I'm so passionate about that. Like, I'm hunting Fortune 500 companies now and looking at that data, and I'm like, "Wow." I'm excited as a woman, I'm excited about that, but let me tell you my pause here. I'm excited about that only if it infuse and benefit other women. What good if solving a problem when only a selected few benefit from the solved problem?
Mm,
If everybody doesn't have access to it or how to the benefit of the problem solving, did you problem solve for a collective or for an individual group, right? And then you gotta think about it. Do I solve for my group first and then, solve for the rest? Or do I collectively think about all of us? Again, that's that crab in a barrel mentality for me. I think some people have. So, yeah.
mm. So who do you most wanna talk to right now?
Outside of you, you know what? I was thinking about this the other day. I don't know if I wanna talk to people exclusively like you
Mhm,
because I know you're an ally. And you believe that there's enough pie for all of us, right? I think I want to talk to the people who only want pie for people who look like them. And I'm not scared of those conversations because I believe there's something there that we need to tap into.
mm,
So I want to talk to people who aren't allies right now.
mm,
And I feel like that would be an opportunity, but also am I gonna really get people who say I'm not an ally for Black women, right? Am I gonna get honest data from that, right? Because proposing a question like that, people somehow say, "Oh, I'm racist. You think I'm racist?" And again, the practitioner side of me is not right. I'm an infant learner, right? So the doctor in me is saying, "No, you just may have a different experience." So I have to split myself to get the answer that I'm looking for, and I can do that because
mm,
research requires you to remove any personal biases, right? And for you to get at the heart of what you're looking into, and that's where I'm at right now. So, yeah.
mm. You bring up something so important in that, which is one, I mean, again, I said, your courage and your bravery in entering into conversations that are uncertain and uncomfortable and leaning into and tackling that. It's, I mean, how you are able to show up as you is, yeah. I, I rarely lack words for things, but I lack words for the awe that I have for the way you show up with
Mhm.
authenticity and courage because you have every reason not to.
But I'm not gonna get so my mother used to say this to me all the time. Do not let anybody stop you from getting what you're trying to get. You know who benefits from me showing up and in my feelings and hurt? Nobody. They win, right? They walk away with the answer to the test. And here I am starving to get the answers. The only way I get the answers is I show up, remove any personal feelings from it, and stay focused on completing my task. What's contributing to you getting access to the C suite? And are you mentoring women of color? If not, why not? Like, I need the answer to that question, and I'm not gonna get it showing up like Virginia in hurt feeling mode. I'm gonna get it like Dr. Virginia, removing any personal feelings and focusing and leaning into emotional intelligence and being a researcher and getting the answer. That's the only way I'm gonna get it. And so that is also my question with what's going on in the world and the way people are moving. Are they so focused on getting the answer that they can stand in a room with people who are completely against them, because this is the thing. I can appreciate that they consciously think that, or people who say, "Oh, you're a DEI hire." What? I have more education than anybody on my team, right? I have a master's degree. I have a degree in economics. I'm bilingual, right? There's so many multifacets to that answers. And so when people say that, I'd be like, so tell me what you think DEI mean, because for somehow they feel like people have lowered the requirements or the qualifications so that someone else can get access to it. Black women are still more educated than any group of people in this world now. So clearly, that is not the contributing factor around qualifications or anything like that. So it's the way that people are seeing what diversity, equity, and inclusion really is. Inclusion is basically the lady across the street who is handicapped has the accessibility to the building as much as I am. That's what inclusive is, right? That's what inclusive means. Diversity is, I don't want everybody on the team thinking like me. There are factors that have felt into me that are the framework of me thinking the way I don't want to talk to me. I want to talk to somebody who thinks completely different from me. That's how something gets better. So I hated that all that says is I'm a company that values I got 1,000,000 customers and all my 1,000,000 customers don't look alike. So I want to have people on my team that understand that, right? Think about H&M when they had a young black boy with a monkey on his sweater. Clearly, like black people instantly was like, clearly your room that did this campaign does not have people who look like me, because we would have said, do not put that black beautiful boy with a monkey on it when that's what they call black people, right? So that's what diversity, equity, and inclusion means to me. And so when we really understand that, then we're not going to be afraid of it.
Yes, a thousand times. And the the other thing that you didn't say explicitly, but I feel comes through is recognizing people are nouns, people are not adjectives.
Absolutely.
And so to label anyone as an adjective is
Hmm.
dehumanizing.
Absolutely.
So people may have adjectives that describe them in the here and now. And then as they learn and they grow, there may be a different set of adjectives that come in and an old set that falls away. And I feel like when we reduce people to adjectives as nouns,
Mhm.
we take away the opportunity for the growth. And we can be hopeful for it. Doesn't necessarily mean we're optimistic it's going to happen, but
Yeah.
we live in the hope, and the hope is what allows us to provide the space. Like if we don't have the hope for change and growth, then there's no space for that change and growth to take place.
Absolutely.
And we also don't have to pretend that it's all going to work out great.
Can you say that loud for the people in the back?
Dr. Virginia, thank you. Thank
Of
you for
course.
being my friend. Thank you for being my
Of course.
esteemed colleague. Thank you for just, I'm really thankful for you. And I'm really thankful for this moment. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming in and experimenting with this with me
I
and,
loved it.
and bringing you. And I adore you. I love you, my friend. And
Love you too, my friend.
I am so excited to see the future of your research.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited too, but again, great friends along the way who helped me. And, again, I don't have a massive group of family members that have PhDs, right? So I remember when I started my dissertation program, our department chair was like, then go find one, go create one, and go connect with like-minded people. And you're one of my like-minded people. So I don't feel alone anymore. So thank you.
We're not alone. We hang out in each other's gardens.
I know, right?
And it sounds like you've got some hanging out to go do right now with
Hmm.
your nephew.
And I'm so excited to spend some time with him.
Well, go and enjoy. And thank
Okay.
you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you for your friendship. And if there's anything I can do to support you, let me know. I'm so proud of you.
Same, same. Always proud of you. Thanks.